Hours from the Gambia radio and television services with me, Fatima Sise, and coming up, 3 Gambian children returned to Banjul after undergoing medical treatment at a hospital in Germany. And the residents of Brufut embark on a massive exercise to rehabilitate a vital road network. And a huge explosion in the heart of Mogadishu leaves more than 200 people dead and hundreds more with injuries. And the authorities in Kenya ban demonstrations in major cities across the country. Well, these plus other stories will come up in just a moment. Stay tuned. And the 3 Gambian children evacuated to Germany for medical treatment have returned to Banjul after successfully cured of their various ailments, and the boys were diagnosed with severe medical disorders whose treatment could only be performed overseas, and we have more on their arrival in this report. Aged between 10 and 14 jetted into Banjul from Germany on Saturday, free from all forms of illness. Having spent between 6 months to 1 year at Peace Village, this latest batch forms part of series sent to Germany after being diagnosed with severe illnesses. The travel and treatment of these children was facilitated by Project Aid International de Gambia in collaboration with Peace Village International based in Germany, a charitable organization that assists in the cure of osteomyelitis, infection of the bone or bone marrow, congenital disorders, and cleft palates.
10 children from the 0 age up to the 7 years of age, they are suffering from very serious illnesses. Those kind of illnesses, such that they have been born with it, and then obviously we don't have the facilities and expertise to either to operate on them or to trying to treat them.
Several Gambian children have benefited from this package over the years, and Julde Jallo, Ibrahima Minte, and Omar Sarr are the latest to follow suit. Whose conditions could not be treated in the Gambia.
Those kids that fell sick and then locally they could not be treated with the intervention of Project Aid the Gambia and Peace Village, so they will have access and opportunity to go to Germany to take care of their sickness.
We've all seen how Peace Village is collaborating with Project Aid in the Gambia. And just looking at the kids and the parents, you'll see definitely they were happy when the kids came. It's like their life have totally transformed.
With their health status restored back to normalcy, these 3 children expressed appreciation over the humanitarian assistance rendered to them. Recalling the previous condition of his son, Baba Gale Jallo, father to Julde Jallo, with tears of joy expressed sigh of relief upon setting eyes on the present condition of his son. Expressing utmost satisfaction over the current well-being of their children, Binta Jadama, mother of Ibrahima Minte and Abdullah Sarr, father of Omar Sarr, both explained that their sons had suffered a lot while they called for assistance. They returned gratitude to Project Aid International de Gambia and partners for the invaluable assistance rendered to their children, whom they said suffered life-threatening illnesses. The children were each given a bag of medication, clothing, and a token by their escorts, Mrs. Maraiki Johnson and Dr. Tobias Braxton, courtesy of Peace Village International, for their integration. Fatima Sise, GRTS News. And the Gambia Organization of the Visually Impaired Sunday joined the rest of the world to observe White Cane Day, and the celebrations took the form of a march past from the BCC office in Banjul to the Banjul Arch, and Fatima Cham Jame tells us more.
October 15th is set aside by the United Nations to emphasize the importance of the white cane carried by those with visual impairment to move about freely and safely. The annual celebration aims to enlighten drivers, motorists and pedestrians to assist the blind to move without hindrances. Now, as Gambia joins the global celebration, blind people will discuss and reflect on socio-economic issues concerning them. Ndeya Sinseka is the president of GOVI.
We want to showcase our talents to work immensely for the betterment of this country. Nothing for us without us. And this cane is part of us. So there are 3 types of canes, or even 5, which are showcased by all countries. It depends on how to constitute. We have the long cane for the totally blind. We have the symbolic cane for some of those with visual impairment. So these are the canes. And we have the smallest cane for the small visually impaired children who are going to school.
Article 1 of the UN Convention on the Rights of People with Disability seeks to promote, protect, and ensure the full and equal enjoyment of all human rights and fundamental freedoms by persons with disability, and to promote respect for their inherent dignity. The director of GOVI, Mahmoud Toure, hopes that people will begin to view the visually impaired people differently and thus enable them partake in nation building.
This day reminds us that the white cane, which is very important and very dear to us who are visually challenged, is used for various purposes ranging from communication to mobility, safety, and many others at every place or institution.
The white cane is recognized worldwide as a symbol of freedom, independence, and confidence for the blind. For Modulamin Jai of the Govi Resource Center, there are challenges as drivers and many others are ignorant of the importance of the white cane.
Some drivers, they don't understand this white canes. Sometimes if you want to cross the roads, you cannot cross it, and some people, they don't want to help us.
As part of events marking the celebration of the White Cane Day, there would be a nationwide tour by cyclists in a bid to sensitize the public on the importance of the white cane. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Fatoumata Cham Jamme.
And the residents of Brufut have embarked on a community project to rehabilitate a key road network linking the village to the main highway. An exercise saw the participation of villagers, among them the National Assembly member of the area. Saidu Kamara has more on that and a cleansing exercise in Sukuta.
The dumping site at Sukuta Nemasu was the scene of a massive cleansing exercise by the members of the community alongside Brikama Area Council. The councillor of Sukuta Ward, Mamadi Mane, explained the objective of the cleansing exercise, highlighting some of the challenges they are facing. The women appealed to the government to come to their aid. They highlighted market facilities, the hospital and a good road network as priority areas which they needed to be addressed. The chairman of Brikama Area Council, Mamsed Jallo, emphasized the importance of the exercise. He said it is the mandate of his office to monitor such developments. He urged the people to take good care of the place after cleansings. Elsewhere in Brufut, the Village Development Committee also embarked on a road rehabilitation exercise on this vital road which connects the village to the main highway. The Public Relations Officer of Brufut, VDC Umar Manmo Sambo, highlighted the challenges the community in access some development due to the bad road condition. Speaking on behalf of the diaspora Gambia, Ibrahim Mane said it is their responsibility as residents of Brufut to contribute to the welfare of their community. The National Assembly member for Sanamentral constituency, Baba Galle Jallo, thanked the people for taking up such an initiative and assured them of his support. Now that the community has taken the lead, they are calling for the government and NGOs to support them and build a smooth and accessible road network to the village. Saidu Kamara, GRTS News.
And in a related development, the community of Kunkujan Saturday organized a similar exercise targeting vital areas of the village. And Mudu Bajan saw them in action, and he now tells us more.
For cleansing exercise, which was done alongside rehabilitating the Kunkujan Banjulunding Road, brought together volunteers from the settlement and beyond. As Kunkujan VDC Secretary Kemo Sise told GRTS, they are challenged with limited resources and as such use a method wherein garbage is first filled in the potholes before backfilled with gravel.
This road is the road linking Kunkujang to Banjulunding. So it is a very important road and it's very useful. Our ladies, they used to go to Banjulunding Health Center for their medication. So this road is our first priority so that we can rehabilitate this road our financial background is not strong to provide gravel. So this is why we first use garbage, and after we backfill it with gravel.
Using refuse in this process may be detrimental to health and related issues, but NEA officer Luntan Conte is satisfied.
The way they are doing it, we don't see any hazard that can come into it, because immediately when they dump in the waste, there is a covering for it, and that is gravel. So I don't think there is any hazard on that, because right now you can see, we may not say rainy season is ceased, but the tendency of rain coming is minimal. So at this time they can capitalize before any other thing can happen.
Government cannot do it alone, said volunteers including Aissatou Badji and Fatunding Sabali, who were appreciative of the community for partaking in the betterment of their environment. While West Coast Governor Ibrahim Barrow hailed the efforts of the volunteers, Konkujang VDC Chairman Hussein Ngom is equally expecting a happy community following the initiative.
It is definitely welcoming. I encourage all communities to come up with these. It's the only way that we can do it. Government alone cannot do it. Community participation is important. That's why we have village development committees. They are the ones looking into development of their various villages. And Kumpujang Teta are coming in with this idea or foresight. I have to applaud them for their efforts. There are so many rubbish in our compounds, and we don't have people to put them at the dumping site. So sometimes we pay this card to take them. That's why I say, let me just organize this general cleansing exercise. We are expecting that people will be happy, that they will see a good work in Kunkujang, and they will see also a cleanliness in their homes.
Modu Bajan, GRTS.
And the Save Havian Foundation on Saturday organized a fertility walk along Kaiba Avenue, and Khadija Diallo was at the event and filed in this report.
You are not alone in this. Keep calm and never lose hope. We are some of the slogans used by organizers of this fertility walk. Safe Haven Foundation's objective, according to the founder, Seni Sise, is, among other things, to remove what they describe as raising awareness about infertility and help women access needed treatment.
We will be having radio programs, TV programs, and whatever measures we can use to mitigate the stigma behind the infertility issues. We will also be raising funds to sponsor the less privileged, the ones that cannot afford to go for medical screening or possible fertility treatments. We have partnered with 3 of the major clinics in Gambia, that's Afrimed, Medicare, and the Dimbaya Fertility Africa Project.
The Executive Director, Women's Bureau, Binta Jami Sidibe, commended the Safe Haven Foundation for the move, adding that it will empower the women as they are the most vulnerable when there is infertility.
I am very happy to be associated with this venture, because this is something I have done for a very long time. This Kanyalang woman you see here, we call them Kanyalang in Mandinka, but it really means women who have not had children for so many years, and they decided to set up this organization as a coping mechanism. Because we know in our society, when there are couples get married and they don't have children, who is blamed for that? The woman is blamed, and then the woman may be not responsible. It could be the man. So that's why it is important for us to come together with the facts. And the woman is traumatized. She's called a lot of names, and then she's victimized. This should not be really accepted in our society.
The Managing Director, Sky Bank, described their partnership with the foundation as a corporate responsibility. Aissatou Cham highlighted the important role of the traditional communicators or Kanyalang groups in keeping them happy in their marriages. This fertility walk is the latest move by the foundation in their quest to support families. Khadija Diallo, reporting for GRTS News.
And a student journalist at the University of the Gambia School of Journalism and Digital Media are on a 2-day training on freedom of expression, courtesy of the Gambia Press Union. And Ninjai has more in this report.
Student journalists at the University of the Gambia School of Journalism and Digital Media are benefiting from a 2-day training on freedom of expression, courtesy of the Gambia Press Union.
more than any other group of people, you, the students of the university, especially the journalism students, gave us so much hope. Involving the students in the campaign for the promotion and protection of freedom of expression in the Gambia will be a game changer.
The conclave is earmarked to raise awareness on free speech, preparing journalism students for a future in the forefront of information dissemination.
Now the Gambia is enjoying democracy, and the journalists of this country are one of those who were muzzled in the past government. If you look at it, if the former government respect freedom of expression in the past, some of us, some are still around, others have traveled, would not have been subjected to serious torture, inhuman treatment. As journalism practitioners and trainees, free and independent press is the lifeblood of strong and functioning societies, and many believe that freedom of expression is a fundamental human right.
As a new democracy steadily matures in the Gambia, the training is deemed critical to prepare and orient young journalists in the ethics of the profession.
If we all agree that we have a right, the people have a right to information, then who are the agents that must deliver that information? Who are the agents and what must be their responsibility in the dispensation, in the production of that information? This is where our own personal interest comes in, to the level where we are committed. It cannot be a haphazard thing, or I'm looking for, is there a chance for a good salary over there? It is a commitment. Because it is always said, if you are looking for money, journalism is the wrong place to be. But we are going to gradually change our minds about that, because we will shift the emphasis to professionalism that will give us life skills from which a journalist can live.
Deputy Permanent Secretary Suleiman Jai represented the Minister of Information. Jai outlined government's commitment in giving journalists a viable environment where they can all practice freely.
Now I wish to assure you that the government of today welcomes you people, that you are going to have your freedom and you'll be able to do your marketing and you'll be able to do whatever you are asked to do with no fear.
At the end of the two-day synergy, the expectation is participants will be equipped with basic knowledge and understanding of freedom of expression to proficiently embark on the vital task of enlightening and informing the public. Umin Jai, GRTS.
And also hundreds of worshippers Friday gathered for the inauguration of a new mosque at the Busumbala Faratulo Basic School, and the construction of the mosque was described as timely and beneficial to the Muslim community in the area. Ibrahim Yalo reports.
At 2 p.m., worshippers had already convened on the new mosque complex grounds at the Busumbala Faratulo Basic School. Imam Anfar Haidara led the colorful congregation in prayers.
Allahu Akbar.
In his sermon, Imam Haidara reminded Muslims of their religious obligations and called for unity, peace and love. The Imam also urged the Muslim community to desist from all forms of violence and discrimination. Hadi Koli and Esa Maro were among hundreds of worshippers who converged at the inauguration of the new mosque. They described the edifice as a groundbreaking addition to the community and school.
As Muslims, we need to offer the 5 daily prayers. It's a walking distance from here to the mosque. But thank God, this mosque is just at our doorsteps. So there is no need for us to go up to the mosque again, and the children will stay in the school and have our prayers here.
The newly inaugurated mosque in the area was acquired through philanthropic assistance, particularly mobilized and facilitated by Abu Garbaji, a Gambian based in Saudi Arabia. A brand new mosque within school grounds and the community here is optimistic about the future and endeavors to inculcate the right values and discipline in children and young people. That message was further expounded in the long and holistic sermon unveiling the latest mosque for the faithful in the Farata Busumbala area. Ibrahim Jallo, GRTS News.
And that takes us to a break, but when we come back, we'll take a look at the Gambia under-17 women's team's encounter with their Sierra Leonean counterparts in Bo. Don't go away. Welcome back. And the Gambia under-17 women's side has scored 3 first-half goals to beat their Sierra Leonean counterparts in the first leg of the World Cup qualifiers, and GRTS's MS Jallo watched the encounter in Bo City, and he brings us up to date.
Under-17 women's team has made a winning return to international football with an emphatic 3-0 win against their Sierra Leonean equivalents. First half goals from Catherine Jata, Captain Aminata Kamara, and Ola Boaro secured Coach Abdoulaye Bojang's young side a vital away win in the first leg of the first round of qualifiers for the 2018 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in Uruguay. The host Sierra Leone started brightly in the opening stages of the game, but the Junior Scorpions soon clicked into gear when Catherine Jata fired the visitors in front in the 14th minute with a close-range finish. 3 minutes later, skipper Aminata Kamara scored a stunning free kick to make it 2-0 before Seaton provider for Ola Boharu to round up the scores to 3-0 in the 26th minute. The Sierra Leoneans fought hard in the second half, but failed to break a very organized Gambian side, which held on to secure a vital away win with a 3-goal cushion going into the return leg in Banjul at the end of this month. After the game, Coach Abdoulaye Bojang hailed the performance of his girls, describing the victory as a very good start. But what makes Saturday's victory more exciting was the show of support from the Gambian community in Sierra Leone, who joined the celebrations on the pitch after the game. The Junior Scorpions will make a triumphant return to Banjul Tuesday afternoon. Modest Jallo, GRTS Sports, Bo City.
And still on sports, South Africa's hopes of qualifying for the 2018 FIFA World Cup remain alive. In the 2010 event, host will need to see off Senegal on 2 occasions to ensure they have any chance of boarding the flight to Russia. And Bafana will be relying heavily on the form of their Mamelodi Sundowns players who have made a huge impact since their successful Champions League campaign last season, as CGTN CS Duplessis reports.
Mamelodi Sundowns have become a force to be reckoned with on the African continent, and the contributions of the Masandawana players while on national duty have been impressive. According to head coach Pitso Mosemane, the lessons learned while playing in the Champions League have made his players even better.
The reality is that when we won against Nigeria, we had about 7 on the pitch, and we won. Even now we had enough to help Bafana to win, because Stuart understands that African football is not domestic football, and we have to have the mentality to play it, and we will work very hard.
The national team certainly has its work cut out going into the remaining Group D fixtures against Senegal, and former Bafana midfielder Surprise Moriri believes the pressure will be immense, but this team has the mental toughness to deal with the public's expectations.
There's pressure because the country is looking upon Bafana to make it to the World Cup. And from the personal observation, I thought this is the strongest Bafana after a long time. And I hope they can win both games against Senegal.
Mosemane, who coached South Africa for 2 years, says that it isn't fair to expect national coach Stuart Baxter to perform miracles. And instead, the South African Football Association and public should give him time to build a formidable team that can challenge the top teams on the continent.
If you qualify for World Cup, it's a bonus. But win the Cup of Nations, then win the World Cup, then go to the World Cup, you know, or go to the Cup of Nations at least. You know, we need to build up, but somehow the country is not patient, but it doesn't help us. Look where we are. We've been here for how many years?
Although qualifying for a World Cup is the be-all and end-all for most international football coaches, former Bafana coach Pitso Mosemane is of a different opinion. He believes South Africa should be focusing on qualifying for AFCON on a regular basis, prioritising that first before worrying about qualifying for the World Cup, and most importantly, have fun while playing football. Says Duplessis, CGTN, Johannesburg.
And let's take a look at more international stories. And we head to Somalia, where the country is once again in mourning following a terrorist attack that killed more than 200 lives. The death toll is expected to rise as rescue operations continue for the second day. And from Mogadishu, CGTN's Abdul Aziz Bilo tells us more.
At the city's busiest junction, Saturday's truck bomb in downtown Mogadishu is by far the biggest to rock the capital in years. There's been no official death toll yet from the attack. For the second day now, rescue workers are on the scene to pull bodies trapped in the rubble.
I am a rickshaw driver. I left that junction a few seconds before the blast. My rickshaw was overturned by the impact of the blast. I've seen with my own eyes bodies scattered all over. I can't describe what I've seen here today.
Those caught up in the blast, mostly civilians. The blast happened at around 3 p.m. local time. Dozens of cars, including public transport vehicles, were caught up in the inferno that destroyed nearby business centers and hotels. Somalia's president condemned the attack, blaming it on Al-Shabaab, a terrorist group that has staged similar attacks in the past.
This was a tragic incident, and it's a sign that the Al-Shabaab continues to target innocent civilians. The Somali public need to know more about this group's evil plans. Today, it has once again attacked civilians in a populated area.
Not far from the scene of the blast are two government ministries, that of the Higher Education and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Also among the dead include a senior government official. A hotline number has also been created for families to report their missing relatives and friends.
Today we lost valuable people among the society. Let us all join in the fight against the terrorist group that is threatening our peace and stability. Let us forget about our differences and work for the betterment of our society.
More than 200 people have been hospitalized. A nationwide blood donation campaign has been launched with the president himself leading that exercise. The impact of Saturday's explosion could be heard all across the city, even destroying homes several kilometers away. The last time an attack of this magnitude happened was in 2011, not far from the scene of Saturday's explosion. More than 150 people, mostly students, were killed in one of the nation's most devastating attacks to hit the Horn of African country. Abdul Aziz Bilon, CGTN, Mogadishu.
And next to Kenya, because the government there has banned protests in Nairobi and two other major cities, and that comes amid demonstrations called by the opposition ahead of elections later this month. And CGTN's Sonny Matthew has the story.
The opposition has been stepping up its demonstrations to 3 times a week. And from next week, it's threatened protests every day. Already, we've seen tear gas and live rounds fired in Nairobi, and there have been clashes in Mombasa and the western city of Kisumu. Government says it's worried.
Due to the clear, present, and imminent danger of breach of peace and public order experienced in recent demonstrations, the government notifies the public that, for the time being, we will not allow demonstrations within the central business districts of Nairobi, Mombasa, and Kisumu.
The government is also threatening legal action against protest organizers.
Some of the things we are doing are hurting our country, and we cannot go on this way. I want to call upon all the leaders and everyone involved that let us think about our country.
The opposition has called the protests to force through reform at the Electoral Commission. Kenya is due to run its elections later this month. And the opposition is convinced the elections will not be free and fair without the reforms it's demanding. The next protests are scheduled for Friday the 13th. The government says it will take all necessary security measures. Sonny Matthew, CGTN, Nairobi, Kenya.
And that's all we had time for on this edition of the news. But before we go, I need to the top stories once again. 3 Gambian children returned to Banjul after undergoing medical treatment at a hospital in Germany. And the residents of Brufut embark on a massive cleansing exercise to rehabilitate a vital road network. And a huge explosion in the heart of Mogadishu leaves more than 200 people dead and hundreds more with injuries. And authorities in Kenya banned demonstrations in major cities across the country. Well, that was all in this edition of the News at 10 with me, Fatima Tassise. Thank you for joining us and keep watching GRTS.